Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
Tonight on SportsCenter at 6, he's back.
Oh, for me, I thought I did great.
We're live in the Bahamas with full coverage of Tiger's impressive return.
5 or 6 turnovers in 2 games, it's very frustrating.
With so many dilemmas in Big D, can the Cowboys bounce back? Teddy Bruschi weighs in. Plus, Marvin bags all the headlines, but Jay Billis reveals the 2 star players you must watch ahead of tonight's Notre Dame-Michigan State matchup. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and LeBron James? Is this part of the process?
One of the greatest. My dog.
And now, Michael Smith and Jemele Hill.
Well, such enthusiasm. It just belies so much. But that's a conversation for another day. Your 6 at 6 for this Thursday evening, including whether Jimbo Fisher is poised to take a new gig. Whether the 6th time is a charm for Tennessee. But we're starting with Tiger, huh? That's what we're doing now. Okay, let's do it.
Even more. I got a highlight for you. All right. 2017 Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas. You see Tiger Woods playing in his first event since the Dubai Desert Classic in February. All right, so let's get to Tiger versus the par 5s here. Second shot on the par 5 on 3. Rips that 2-iron. 265 yards out. Lands safely on the back of the green. As you see, get there. All right. He would 2-putt for birdie, by the way. That is Tiger's first birdie since January 27th of 2017, 1 under through 3. But he struggled the rest of the way on par 5s. Here he is chipping for his 3rd shot on 9. Chips it short, doesn't make it on the green, and then he just gives it the stank eye. All right, he would bogey that hole. Tee shot here on 15. Yep, went a little right. He would have to take a drop. And at that point, Tiger Woods won over on par 5 holes, 4 under on all other. But he did bounce back. 3rd shot on 4. Tiger's chip goes only a few feet away, and is just off the green, and he's not very happy. Remember, Tiger's all in the hips. You get it? Never mind. Anyway, now trying to save par. He sinks it from just off the green. Oh, remember that? The Tiger Woods fist pump?
Yep.
Came back. Then on 14, second shot from the fairway, he sinks it a couple feet from the hole. Boom! He would birdie the hole to go up for 4 under rather. Now on 18, Tiger sitting at 3 under. His chip rolls a few feet past the hole, just a bit outside. And so now for par, he sinks it. Tiger shoots a 69, 3 under on the day. Good enough for 8th through the first round. Pretty good. Tiger finished today 3 under with 5 birdies, 2 bogeys. He was the only player in the field with a birdie on 8 and the only player with a birdie on 10. Both of his bogeys came on par 5s. The over-under for his first round score was 71.5, and he finished a few shots under at 69. So good day, right?
It was not only nice to get the first round out of the way, but it's also I'm only 3 shots out of the lead. And so to be able to put myself there after not playing for, 10 months or so, in the neighborhood of that, it was nice to feel the adrenaline out there. And, last year, I got tired, last year. And you can see I was like 3-4 under par, and then make a couple dubs, couple bogeys here and there, and lose the round. This year, obviously with my back better, my training sessions have been much better. My strength is up, and I didn't feel tired at all, which was great.
Michael Collins in the Bahamas, inside the ropes with Tiger's group for the first round. Take us inside the scorecard. 369. What's your biggest takeaway from Tiger's first start in 301 days, Mike?
I'm going to have to say my biggest takeaway is that he believes he can win this thing. And he's in a position to do that, which none of us knew. Remember, earlier this week, he said he didn't even know what his expectations were going to be. But now he's in a position to win. The thing that troubled me with Tiger was what he normally eats up, the par 4s and the par 5s especially. The par 5s, he was over par. But still, making a birdie on the hardest hole, number 10, says something about who Tiger Woods is. And the fact that he's only 3 shots back, Man, I'm trying to stay calm. We all are, but still, seeing Tiger today felt good, man. Seeing him like this feels good.
See, that's the problem. You getting excited. What happened to taking it easy and having reasonable expectations?
That was your big message yesterday.
Tomorrow you're going to tell me he winning at Augusta. Calm down. Calm down, big Mike.
I'm not, hey. It's like that when at one point he was 2 shots off the lead, and I was like, all right, we need to breathe. We just need to breathe. I know it's only Thursday. But remember, last year on Friday, he shot 65, and the conditions out here on Thursday weren't as bad as what people thought, but still, all right, just calm down. There's only 17 other dudes he's playing against, so
correct.
All right, just chill.
Including 8 of the top 10 players in the world. I believe last year, didn't he finish 15th out of 17th last year? So we talk, am I right?
And one guy, yeah.
That's okay. I love your enthusiasm.
See, that's just like Mike, bringing up old stuff.
I love your enthusiasm. Appreciate you, Michael. Talk to you tomorrow, man. Lots of other athletes just as excited as Michael Collins to watch Tigers round. Steph Curry, the wait is over. The wait is over. Tiger Woods, he added him. Michael Phelps, pumped to be watching Tiger Woods back out there. And birthday boy, happy 55th to Bo Jackson. Great to see Tiger Woods back on the golf course.
Now the intentional foul by Scott Brooks of Simmons.
Scott Brooks employing the hack of Ben Simmons right here.
And again, they foul Simmons.
Any thoughts when you go on
make the free throw? That's it. I'm not trying to miss him.
Certainly cannot knock the strategy at the rate that Ben Simmons is missing free throws.
Did it get frustrating in your mind?
No.
Boy, this game can't get to 2 minutes or fewer fast enough. That's when the strategy will end.
It's not going to happen for that much longer. I'm going to knock him down.
None of that tonight, please. Just over an hour from now and just down 84-90 to Boston. Sixers Celtics for the second time this season, this time from the Garden. Boston held Philly to his second lowest point total, 92, and second lowest field goal percentage, 38, on October 20th. In that win, that started the 16-game winning streak. Celtics coming off a loss to the Pistons, but a rare full practice yesterday. Sixers on a back-to-back coming off the win over Washington, but will be without T.J. McConnell and Joel Embiid, who TMZ reports visited Meek Mill last Friday. Free Meek.
Now, Jeff Goodman is in Boston for tonight's game. Now, last night against the Wizards, as Mike mentioned, Ben Simmons, he attempted a NBA single-game record, 24 free throw attempts in the fourth, amounting to 29 for the game. Is this a strategy that the Sixers expect other teams to employ?
No, I spoke to Brett Brown earlier, and he wasn't surprised by it because of the way the game was going. Scott Brooks, they were down 20. They had kind of their second unit on the floor, so he gave Scott Brooks credit for going with it last night, but he doesn't think that this is going to be something that's going to be happening quite often. And he stuck with Ben Simmons. I mean, that was kind of the key. A lot of guys would pull their star player or have pulled players like Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan in the past. He stuck with Ben Simmons, who told me earlier today he's going to continue to do that because he needs to instill confidence in the first or second year player, however you want to define him. Brad Stevens just spoke about it, and he said his eyes were glued to the TV last night. It was so unique, something that he hadn't seen before. And what he said was he gives Ben Simmons a lot of credit because he kept his composure, he got better, he made 6 of 8 at the end of the game. Guys, I wouldn't expect to see it tonight because the game's in Boston. As you said, there's no Joel Embiid. So I think the Celtics are probably going to be up, and Brad Stevens is hoping he wouldn't even have to think about employing it.
We accept no Sixers slander around here. So, Jeff Goodman, USA Today, quote, if LeBron James, who can become a free agent after this season, decides to leave the Cavaliers, he could and should consider the 76ers. And executives around the league believe Sixers president of basketball ops Brian Colangelo will attempt to sign James. What's the word around the campfire when it comes to this scenario?
I mean, come on. I spoke to one NBA GM earlier today, and they can't talk on the record because they'll get fined. But he said off the record, if there's any NBA GM that does not go after LeBron James that has cap room, we got Ben Simmons over here right now, so maybe you guys can ask him if he's going to get fouled a lot. Ben, what do you think? You going to get hacked today? He said, no, I don't think so, guys. He said he thinks he's okay. But getting back to the original question, listen, if you don't go after LeBron James, you're out of your mind and you should be fired if you're a GM. That's what the GM I spoke to told me.
Well, I'm not a GM, and maybe I am out of my mind. No, we don't need LeBron James. That's right, I say we. We don't need LeBron James. We don't need carpet bagging and ring chasing. We got LeBeige. We have we don't need LeBron.
I'm asked Ben. I'm asked Ben if they want LeBron James. He can't answer that. He'll get fined.
Don't get him to tamper.
Want this process to grow naturally. Let LeBron take his ring chasing
Said
somewhere
by no
else.
one. We don't want LeBron. Jeff, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Now, since it's Throwback Thursday, let's go back to the last time, Michigan State and Notre Dame faced one another as top 5 teams. Elite 8, 1979. Michael Smith, just a twinkle in his mama's eye. A young phenom named Magic Johnson helped the Spartans knock off Bill Hanslick and the Irish, 80-68, en route to Michigan State's first national title. Magic had 19 points, 13 assists.
You were there, right? You covered that game, didn't you? I'm sorry.
Don't make me get unchristian-like. And his teammate Greg Kelser led all scorers with 34 points. There was a future Detroit Pistons bad boy named Bill Laimbeer, who was also on that team. He had 7 points and 4 rebounds for Notre Dame. Jay Billis is too young to have covered that game, but Jay, is still hard to believe that it's been that long since these two teams have seen each other as top 5 teams. So let's start with Notre Dame. Bonzie Colson, who is averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, is their best player. What does Michigan State have to do to bottle up Bonzie tonight?
Well, they can't let him get below him. And Bonzie Colson is only 6'5", and Mike Bray jokes he's got no neck, no calves, but he's one of the best players in the country because he's got long arms and he knows how to play. And at 6'5", he led the ACC in rebounding last year. He was the first player under 6'7" to lead that league in rebounding since 1958. That's how special of a player he is. I think what you really have to do is make sure that you don't let him catch the ball deep. And he can face up, he, as you mentioned, scoring 20 points a game. But if he's a pick and pop guy, let him take threes. Otherwise, you really have to contain him, throw a couple different guys at him, and make sure you have really good help. And you also have to make sure that you deal with Matt Farrell, who's an outstanding scorer, scoring about 18 a game. But Michael and Jemele, this game is about 3 things. It's about transition defense for Notre Dame. They cannot let Michigan State get out on the break. It's about rebounding because Michigan State has to own the glass in this game. And it's about turnovers because over the last couple years, it's been in Michigan State's nature to turn the ball over a little too much. If they turn it over against Notre Dame, who doesn't turn it over at all, then Notre Dame will have a chance to win here.
Jay, Tom Izzo told Jemele yesterday that Miles Bridges is at 90%. Seeing as how Michigan State won that PK 80 tournament with Bridges a little banged up, how much scarier does having Bridges pretty much at full strength make the Spartans tonight?
Well, it's really scary. The scariest thing was that Izzo and Jemele didn't let you in at all. Apparently, if you don't have your Michigan State card, you can't get involved in these things at all. You know, talking about hoodies and, you know, how great it is in East Lansing. It's the best place ever.
Thank you.
The future site of the second coming. But look, Miles Bridges is the real deal. I'll tell you one thing. I know he's not fully back yet, but one thing he needs to do is be more assertive. He only had 3 shots in the first half in that game in Chicago against Duke. He did a much better job in the second half, but he's not getting to the free throw line right now. He shot 10 free throws on the season, and so he needs to be a go-to guy and be assertive because that opens up things for everybody else. But you know, we watched him today in practice and a couple times against a zone when he went up and dunked the ball, and it was ridiculous. It was hard watching practice not to stand up and applaud. He's really, really good.
Well, thank you, Jay. I don't take any credit for that. But I tell you what, go to Crunchies and have a bucket of beer on me. Tell them I sent you. My name is good around East Lansing.
It's the only place.
Hey, it ain't going to be just, if I go, it's not going to be 1 bucket.
You don't know how big that bucket is.
We'll hear from you later. Meanwhile, hoping to salvage their recruiting class after 3 prospects decommitted Wednesday night, Florida State officials are urging Jimbo Fisher to make a decision, just make a decision about whether he'll remain with the Noles beyond this season or accept an offer from Texas A&M that would make Fisher one of the sport's 3 highest-paid coaches with an annual salary of more than $7 million, sources told ESPN's Mark Schlabach, whom you'll hear from momentarily. But first, take another listen to a fan confronting Fisher during his radio show last night.
Jimbo, very excited when you came on board with the program, very excited to have you as the offensive coordinator, very excited when you became the head coach. Yes, sir. It's been kind of a tough season, and I remember watching a lot of your press conferences and how you would talk about how we need to be committed to the program and keep cheering for the team, and we need to be talking about that, about loyalty to the program. So I'm wondering, where's the loyalty to the program, Jimbo?
Where's the justice?
When keeping it real goes wrong. Now, Mark Schlabach, Jimbo Fisher, he said on the radio earlier today that he would have answered that fan's question. He also said he will make a decision about his future, quote, at the end of the year after things are finished. Realistically, when will all this job drama end?
Jemele, I don't think we're going to get a decision until after Saturday's regular season finale against Louisiana Monroe. FSU source told me earlier today the school was pressuring him to make a decision, but I think he's going to wait. Texas A&M's Board of Regents are meeting right now in College Station. They're expected to finalize an offer for Fisher. As you mentioned, will pay him more than $7 million, make him the second highest paid coach in college football behind only Alabama's Nick Saban. FSU officials have told me for more than a week that they expect Fisher to bolt for College Station. They've been making preparations in case that happens. I'm told FSU Athletics Director Stan Wilcox would like to land a minority coach if they needed a replacement. So keep an eye on Oregon's Willie Taggart, Texas A&M's former Texas A&M coach Kevin Sumlin, and South Florida's Charlie Strong.
All right, Mark, this is only the second most dramatic coaching carousel story. Moving on to Knoxville. I'm telling you, Tennessee, just do like the kids do and like a bunch of pics on IG in a row and wait for the coach to slide your DMs. These days, instead of getting, publicly rejected over and over, cross NC State's Dave Dorn off the list. He gets a new 5-year deal out of the Vols ordeal. Volunteers fans unhappy with how new UT AD John Curry has conducted his coaching search, chanted "Fire Curry" on a handful of occasions Wednesday night during the men's basketball team's victory over Mercer. So you got, meanwhile, Lane Kiffin continues to get his Twitter troll on.
Yeah, and Mark, at this point, the only person who hasn't turned down Tennessee is Bud Kilmer. Nevertheless,
let's go.
Kevin Sumlin has emerged as a candidate. So how for real is Tennessee's interest in Kevin Sumlin?
I mean, I think it's a legitimate interest. We were told that they had reached out to Sumlin before Dorn turned him down to stay with the Wolfpack. Sumlin might want to wait to see what happens at Florida State and some other places, but I think Tennessee AD John Curry seems to be in a hurry, would like to get this thing done by the end of the week. The interesting thing, Sumlin doesn't have to coach. Texas A&M paid him $10.4 million to go away. That buyout is payable in 60 days and does not decrease if he takes another coaching job. If it's not someone, some other guys to keep an eye on: Alabama defensive coordinator Jeremy Pruitt, Auburn defensive coordinator Kevin Steele, who's a Tennessee grad and a former coach there, and Washington State's Mike Leach.
All right, Mark, we appreciate the insight.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Thursday night football, not just any 5 and 6 teams. Washington at Dallas, according to FBI, Washington's playoff hopes will stand at 6.7% with the win. Dallas at 2%. We will devote a significant percentage of our attention tonight to the QBs as usual. Kirk Cousins comes in 8th in total QBR, while his counterpart, Dak Prescott's Cowboys, have lost 3 straight since Ezekiel Elliott's suspension, scoring fewer than 10 and losing by 20 in each, with Prescott contributing no touchdowns, 5 picks, and taking 14 sacks.
All right, and with that, we welcome in Stefano Fusaro, who is with the Cowboys. Now, with this 3-game losing streak, how are the Cowboys handling that? Because this is kind of foreign territory for them, given how poor their offense has been.
Well, it really has been a tension-filled locker room since that last loss. Their Thanksgiving meals must have tasted just a little bittersweet after a 3rd straight blowout loss here at home on Thanksgiving to the Chargers. Now, of course, Dak Prescott even mentioned last week that this is the most frustrated he's ever been in his football career, and that's saying a lot for a guy who's only been in the league, in the NFL. This is his 2nd year after having so much success in his 1st year. Now, of course, during the week, Jason Garrett and the rest of the Cowboys are trying to preach positivity and trying to look forward after these 3 blowout losses. But if you start looking at it, Zeke isn't walking through that door until Christmas Eve. Sean Lee, their heart and soul of their defense, he's not walking through that door today, and we don't really know when he's going to be back on the field due to that injury, and he's not the only one because his replacement, linebacker Justin Durant, he's not going to play tonight due to he's still in the concussion protocol, so he won't be on the field. Good news is Anthony Hitchens, the other linebacker, will be on the field tonight, and he was questionable going into this game. And just a few moments ago, our Todd Archer, who covers the Cowboys for ESPN.com, reported that offensive lineman La'el Collins will start tonight. He was also in question for this game, and they're going to need him and a whole lot more to win this game and keep their playoff hopes alive.
Teddy Bruschi's here to play the part of DJ Khaled. Give us the keys to success.
Yeah.
See
for this
what you
NFC
did there.
East showdown.
Did you hear that about those linebackers being out?
I did.
Man,
that's why we
Sean
brought you
Lee,
in.
Justin
It's
Durant.
all strategic.
Man, that's pretty big. That's pretty big.
All right.
When you got not one but another linebacker down, that trickle down effect is to where everyone else's job description now is to what they have to do is delayed, because usually I've been there behind them when they look to you and like, what's the call? What do we have to do? And boom, you give them the answer right now. But now it's coming from someone else that has to go to somebody else, and it's going to take a little bit longer, or it's now on them that they have to make the call, and it takes them that much longer to get to their job description. So it's just one step that takes a little bit longer, and then all of a sudden, you got them problems.
And then margin for error is already pretty slim.
Yeah, a lot of attention, even though obviously everything you said about their linebacking core is certainly appropriate for this game. But clearly there's been a lot of attention on Dak Prescott. And with the absence of Ezekiel Elliott, a lot of people look at him and say, oh, he's been exposed. But is it just about Dak maybe not performing as well as he can or has in the past with Zeke, or do they have like larger issues on offense?
Jamil, I don't think exposed is the right term, because he is what he is. He was a good quarterback off of play action, complimentary type of role. When he had to make a big play, he made it last year. Now, when the running game's not there, he has to do more, and he can't do that. He's not Aaron Rodgers. You can't line up an empty with 5 receivers out and just let Dak Prescott throw the ball every single down. What they need to do is use him as a runner more. They need to use him as a runner, get him back to that 11-on-11 football, because if your best runner in Zeke isn't there, if the defense thinks now that you can legitimately run some quarterback sweeps, some options, some power.
They don't really do a lot of that,
They don't.
do they?
I think they need to implement that, because that's an added element to where you take an extra defender that has to also account for the quarterback. Scrambles, bootlegs, those type of things. If you're going to rely on Dak Prescott's arm, all right, and you think that's going to get the job done, it's not going to get the job done. It has to be more than that.
You're talking about adjustments, which the Cowboys, been a lot of talk that they haven't made a lot of those, and people are starting to discuss
Jerry Jones.
Okay, Jerry Jones.
He said, I need to see the difference their coaching makes.
Yeah, and coaching, when players get injured and you're in a locker room and all of a sudden, winning's great. I don't need you, head coach. I don't need you, coordinator. Tell me what to do. We're going to get it done. We'll be fine. We're winning football games. We start to lose. People start to get hurt. Now, I need an answer. I need something from you, Jason Garrett. I need something from you. Anybody, my defensive coordinator, my positional coach, give me something that we can do and make an adjustment to help us win. They're not getting that right now.
So is Jason Garrett's job, should it be even in more jeopardy? It's Dallas. So, it's Jerry Jones. So we know he could fire anybody. But should it be in more jeopardy, not just with a loss tonight, but a loss that further exemplifies what we're talking about, which is a lack of in-game adjustments?
Yeah, in-game adjustments, and I think a sign of a good head coach is how good your depth is. Still coaching that depth to let them know, the emphasis on them, coaching them and letting them know when their time does come, they're ready to play. That's because when you have an overemphasis of star players, this is the problem, the true problem, I think, in Dallas. The overemphasis of a Zeke, of a Sean Lee, of a quarterback, the triplets. It's just them. All of a sudden, they're gone.
Right.
Everybody's looking at like, well, we can't do it now, right? They're not here. So that mentality of pushing your stars like that, I think it gets you in this predicament often.
All right. Thank you.
The keys. Appreciate it. 3 losses in a row since beating the Warriors. The problem isn't as simple as the big 3 going through growing pains. Thunder have actually outscored the opposition by 58 in 432 minutes with Russ, Melo, and PG on the floor. Thunder have the 8th best net rating in NBA, even though they neither move nor pass enough. The issue is the last 5 minutes. 1-9 in games within 5 points in the final 5. And get this, all 12 of OKC's losses this season have come when favored in Vegas. Most such losses at this stage of the season by any team over the last 25 years. Melo, not at a loss, not yet.
Nobody is moping around. Nobody is frustrated. I think guys are angry. I think guys are pissed. But I just come from, your competitive nature, wanting to win games, understanding what we have over here, the talent level that we have over here, and not being able to put it together right now. So that's where the anger come in at.
You've said before you feel like you guys are close. Do you still feel that way? Do you think there's any need to do something big? Do you think like a lineup change or anything significant?
No, hell no. No, not at all.
All right, Royce, Melo seemed cool about it. You've been around this. That wasn't intentional. You've been around this team through a lot of ups and downs over the years. What's the level of concern in terms of your read on the locker room and behind the scenes?
They are doing their absolute best, Michael, to preach the "it's early" narrative to everybody that is willing to listen at this point. It's 20 games, though. That justification is starting to run a little bit thin. Carmelo Anthony tried to hammer that home a number of different times today. He was actually asked, have you reached out to some of your close friends that have gone through this sort of thing, namely LeBron James and Dwayne Wade when they came together in Miami in 2010? And Melo even kind of laughed and said, it's not time for any phone calls yet because it's still early. But as this team still is working through this and this same type of problem continues to persist, there is a little bit of anxiety. You know, as one person in the front office had talked about, is they are certainly confused about why they have struggled, like you talked about, Michael, in these close games. But, you know, walking into the practice facility today, I thought it was pretty striking. Billy Donovan, Sam Presti were standing out on the middle of the floor talking, almost like a kind of almost intentionally so that the media could see them, that they were talking, discussing things. No fractures there. Russell Westbrook was actually laying on the floor talking to assistant coach Mo Cheeks and assistant GM Troy Weaver, and he was having a good time. He was very energetic. He was laughing. And when Billy Donovan talked to the media, he spoke for almost 20 minutes today. And when Donovan finally wrapped up, Westbrook, who was still laying on the floor, he was the last guy out there, cracked a joke about Billy Donovan going on for as long as he did. So they're trying to keep things light. They're trying to keep things energetic. But as the losses keep piling up, that type of stuff and the it's early talk is going to run out.
Yeah, 3 ball-dominant players. What could possibly go wrong? You mentioned Russell Westbrook. Of course, a lot of this comes back to him, you know, whether good or bad. He's accepted some responsibility, a lot of responsibility for some of the things that have gone on. But truly, how much of the burden is on Westbrook?
Really, Jamel, that's some of the problem is that a lot of times Russell Westbrook feels like it's all on his shoulders. And that's something Carmelo Anthony today kind of tried to tamp down a little bit, is that after the loss last night, Russell Westbrook kind of sat there and said that it was his fault. He didn't bring enough energy. He didn't set the tone early, didn't bring a sense of urgency. And with the way that this team is structured, with 3 guys kind of set above the rest, with Westbrook, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony, Melo said, hey, I sympathize with the way that he feels. I've been in that situation before where you want to say it's all you, but we're in this together is what his message was. But that's Russell Westbrook. You know, it was pretty striking, I thought, last night, Jamel, as everybody walked off the floor. Russell Westbrook sat there on the end of the bench, had his head down, actually had some coaches and teammates had to kind of come up and console him because it's pretty simple. Russell Westbrook hates to lose, and he had higher expectations than this for this group and this team. And right now they're all starting to feel that pressure because it's not come together as smoothly as they hoped it would.
Yeah, interesting that he would feel it was all on him when he's got 2 top 20 players with him. Thank you, Royce. We appreciate the report. That there is Bonzi Colson, one of 7 players in Division I, averaging 20 points per game and 10 rebounds. Michigan State going to have to do a lot to stop that guy. And here to tell us a little bit about tonight's matchup, Jay Will. All right, here you go.
Are you nervous?
No.
Okay. It's like
come right out the gate.
Dude.
I'm just asking.
Nervous?
I know how you get into the game.
Sorry, where they at? Beast Lansing, right? Okay, just wondering. All right, you know how we get down there, right?
I got you.
Look, Notre Dame is undefeated. Very good team, fresh off winning the Maui Invitational. Michigan State's only lost to Duke. They're playing good ball now. But who needs this more tonight, Michigan State or Notre Dame?
Well, I think, of course, people could say if Notre Dame were to get a win on the road, that would be massive. But you know, when you think about championship caliber teams, Michigan State has to prove that this is the type of year where they're going to win a championship. And you prove that you're going to win championships when guys like Miles Bridges, now I know he had a little bit of an ankle injury, but this is what you come to Michigan State for, right? You want to play college basketball for these prime time games. I want to see Miles Bridges, the preseason National Player of the Year. I want to see Miles Bridges potentially a top 5 pick. I want to see the best basketball player in college basketball play on the biggest level and demand the ball and the respect that he's deserved. And I want to see the rest of the team follow suit. Michigan State, I think this is a must-win game for them for their own mentality to believe that they can win a championship.
All right, let's get to Duke. Gutted one out against Indiana in Bloomington last night. One thing to love about them, they know how to close. Final 10 minutes of regulation, their last 3. Outscored Texas by 12, Florida by 16, and Indiana last night by 9. What's your biggest takeaway from what they did?
Do you want the analyst hat or do you want the fan hat? Like
Can
the
you combine them?
OJ, okay. Because the OJ hat kind of wants to see this team go through some adversity to get smacked a little bit because they're so darn talented. It's crazy. And none of their freshmen are playing like freshmen. You just want to see them get faced with adversity and not turn out their way. And I'm not saying that Coach K is brilliant. He can find different ways to captivate them and keep their attention. But the best way of recognizing a team that maybe they don't have all the answers is when they get hit in the mouth, when they lose a little bit. Now, look, I think this team has the talent to potentially go undefeated. They have the talent, too. Wow. I don't think it's going to happen because you still have to play at Louisville, you have to play at North Carolina, and I'd rather see this team kind of find a way to go through a hurdle and learn from it. And they still have room for improvement. That's the crazy thing. This team still has a ceiling. Like Trayvon Duvall is not playing his best basketball. Gary Trent Jr. is not playing his best basketball. Marvin Bagley is. Wendell Carter needs to stop fouling. So this team still has a long way to go.
Oh, gosh, undefeated. That's scary. All right.
Hey, they threw it out, not me.
Okay, thanks, Jay Williams.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, the 2018 FIFA World Cup draw takes place in Moscow, and defending champion Germany is the odds-on favorite to win it all again. They'd be the first repeat winner since Brazil in '62. Now, arguably the biggest storyline for tomorrow's draw is what happens to Spain. The 2010 World Cup champs failed to advance out of the group stage in 2014, and they're in Pot 2 Friday, meaning they'll be joined by another strong team in their group. Now, 20 of the 32 teams from 2014 will return to 2018, but some of the world's biggest names will not be there, including, you remember, the U.S., four-time champion Italy, and the Netherlands, who finished second in 2010. I was at that World Cup, of course. Despite all that, this World Cup will not lack for star power. The game's three biggest names will all participate. You know them: Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar. All right, and we'll have the second leg of the Western Conference Championship tonight at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. The Sounders hosted Dynamo at Century League Field, with Seattle leading 2-0 on aggregate. You can also find it on the ESPN app. Soccer.
Tennessee continues to try and find a coach. Lane Kiffin continuing to take advantage.
I really don't know much about things, so you have to understand, I don't really have this big plan and we sit around for an hour and figure out, like, basically people, friends, some RGAs, they come up with ideas, they send them to me, and then I just retweet them, so I didn't even know who the guy was.
It's cool.
You didn't know who the guy was?
I believe him.
No, you don't.
No, I kind of do.
Lane, take credit. It's your moment, man. You played in the conference championship.
The greatest rappers of all time got ghostwriters. I write your lines all the time.
Whatever.
I give you your jokes every day.
I wouldn't. Are you kidding me? Everybody knows that you're the corny person on the show. Anyway,
get your take off.
Let your pettiness be your guide, Lane. Take credit. You deserve it. Anthony Davis, was he just trying to get ejected? He did for the first time in his NBA career. A lot of that going around, considering LeBron, during last night's loss to the T-Wolves after the game, Boogie defended AD.
Holding him back.
It's a complete joke. What I don't understand is that the players are punished for playing off emotion or showing their emotion, but other people are allowed to, and it's totally fine.
Well, no, I mean,
what's he talking about?
He gets a ticky-tack foul. He gets fouled on one end.
Right.
And then he comes out, he gets a block, and he gets called for fouling the other. So I totally understood his frustration there. I mean, you don't often see AD go off like that. It's certainly ironic seeing Boogie Cousins holding him back. But sometimes you're just not here for it.
Right.
I was like that this morning. I was like that last night. You're just not here for it. So get your money's worth. If you're going to get kicked out,
just go ahead all the way.
Steph, 6 of 17 in regulation, made up for it with 13 of his 28 in OT in a win over the Lakers. Didn't impress LeVar Ball.
Shocking.
Neither does 2 MVPs and 2 NBA titles. Still on one when it comes to him and his son.
I trained my son. I know what he's about. You guys know what Steph is about from what you've seen. I don't know what Steph is about. He's a good player. But
he's a 2-time MVP.
He can be a 10-time MVP. I still don't think he's better than my son.
How do we?
I don't know. I mean, but I guess in fairness, he's supposed to think that way as his father. But look,
you don't have to. You can love your son, but you don't have to go that far.
I look at Lamar. I'm not Lamar. I look at LeVar Ball like you look at your drunk uncle on the Domino's table.
No doubt.
That's how I look at him. Like it's like okay, it's
Did you look at what the Warriors did to Luke Walton just to remind him from whence he's come? But then LeVar got the nerve to say Julius Randle should have thrown it to Lonzo for the last shot in regulation. Why? So he can miss? I mean,
he had a good shooting night last night, in fairness. Okay.
Sure.
He got cooking a little bit. I think he had like 8 consecutive points at one point. Well, give him his credit. All right, now during last night's Hornets-Raptors game, Drake was caught on the big screen pouring a can of grapefruit Perrier. Oh, how lovely. Into an OVO branded cup, of course. After the game, he interviewed Kyle Lowry, who had 36.
What prompts a performance like that? Season high?
I watched a lot of Instagram. I seen you singing last night, so, it kind of helped me out a little bit with some motivation.
I just wanted to, you didn't know I could sing. Thank you. Very nice of you. Well, we're looking forward to more performances like this. Thank you very much, Kyle Lowry, ladies and gentlemen. One of the greatest.
My dog.
By the way, speaking of Perrier, I want to put our producer Jasmine Alexander on blast. She's a Perrier. That's her drink of choice.
Okay.
See, Philly.
That's fancy.
See, I'm telling on her because I know she be deep in them streets in Philly. Philly, one of your own, Perrier.
What's wrong with that?
You a Perrier guy?
No, but what's wrong with it? Why are you so judgmental all the time?
Yeah, I'm judging.
Meanwhile, Drake, good at everything.
Yes.
You know.
Your twin.
New leader in the clubhouse for the worst pitch of all time.
I have not seen this. Wait, but so she wasn't even
Wait, hold on. Now. See, yesterday I got the doors wrong because that view is wrong.
Wait,
that's
run that
Asian
back.
Winter League.
So she was not facing the catcher.
I'm looking at the return monitor. That's why I'm not looking at the camera for
Okay,
all
I'm
you
looking at the
TV
camera.
producers out there.
So did no one tell her you're supposed to face the catcher? 50 Cent somewhere is like, I'm exonerated. I'm off the hook.
She looks young. So we're gonna let that. This is how you beat the buzzer, Tim Hardaway Jr., and that's definitely how you celebrate it. We're going hard in the paint.
By stealing
before we go
Steph's
home.
shoulder shake?
Knicks shot 60% last night. Porzingis MRI negative. Good day to be a Knicks fan. There's not often you can say that, so let them have it.
I am. Way to get all that in. Let's go hard in the paint with Harden. I get it, Harden in the paint. That was your joke. Anyway, Harden came 1 point shy of becoming the third player to average 35 and 10 for an entire calendar month. This is looking like this may be the year, Mike.
Enough with the runner-up finishes.
Yeah,
Look,
this may be the year.
he's leading the league in points per game and assists per game. According to Synergy,
Oh,
to trip you out. You saw that?
I saw that. I saw that.
Number one isolation defender in the league is James Harden.
So doing it on
17 and
both
14.
ends.
Come on, man. Give that man his props.
J-Lo is giving A-Rod plenty of props here. She thinks he should be the next manager of the Yankees. That's not happening, but...
Why not?
No,
First of all,
happening.
what J-Lo says, I co-sign.
Okay,
Secondly,
of course.
Come on, you kind of love to see that, right?
Well, actually, I wouldn't. You know why? Because selfishly, I'm enjoying A-Rod as a television analyst. I think he's been great.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Before we call it a day, tell the people we had a good day.
All right, it was a good day for Colin Kaepernick. He is the recipient of the 2017 Sports Illustrated Muhammad Ali Legacy Award. He'll be honored on December 5th at Barclays Center. So congratulations to Colin Kaepernick.
Happy birthday to Bo Jackson, who's 55 today and probably still could go for 155 if you threw him out there. Best athlete I ever saw.
Best Tecmo Bowl, best video game athlete too, right?
That's just not even a comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thanks for winning me all that money in college on Tecmo Bowl. That's it for the 6 Sports Center continues on ESPN News. Notre Dame about to beat Michigan State next. I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry.
Hater.
That was too easy.